When Arsenal and Leeds met in the FA Cup 2 years ago, it took 4 games and this goal from Lee Dixon to separate the sides. Tonight, they meet again. Arsenal, winners over Manchester City last time out, are unbeaten in 5 games. But Leeds will be dangerous. They thrashed the Gunners 3-0 in the league in November. The FA Cup is their last chance of glory this season. The Monday Night Football comes from Highbury. It's the outstanding FA Cup 4th round tie between Arsenal and Leeds United, exclusively live here on Sky Sports. The FA Cup in full swing now, very much alive and kicking. Arsenal and Leeds United, 2 of the juggernauts of English football. A lot of people have written Arsenal out of the chase for the Premier League title. They haven't done that here. They're into the semi-finals of the League Cup, of course, and the bookies fancy them strongly for a run in the FA Cup. Leeds United are out of everything except the FA Cup. A lot of pride at stake tonight. They both come into this one, all guns blazing. Leeds United arriving at Highbury Stadium. David Rocastle, who knows the place very well indeed, of course. Does he play tonight? We'll find out shortly. Leeds United will be hoping that this little fella's all right. Gordon Strachan, club captain, such an inspiration. Tony Dorigo pottering through there. Gary McAllister. It's all that Leeds United have left this season, the FA Cup. Our guests tonight, well, the Arsenal greats, Kenny Sansom is back with us, and Ray Clements, Spurs first-team coach. Gentlemen, welcome both. Kenny, what's it like coming home?
Absolutely fantastic. I just said to Ray, I wish I was back here playing it. The surface looks fantastic, and the stadium now looks magnificent.
Doesn't it just?
Really
the
good.
far end, well, not anything like completed yet, but it's beginning to look very impressive.
Yeah, very exciting.
Ray, congratulations on your win yesterday.
Thank you. Yes, we're obviously very pleased that the lads played really well, turned on a performance, our best performance of the year so far, and we justified the result.
In the year of the cockerel, I read this morning.
Yes, well, let's hope it's right. Who's Kenny supporting tonight, by the way, with this red?
Leeds. Yes, he's on Leeds tonight, is that right? It's quite a contrast, isn't it? And you're somewhere in between, I suppose, with that one.
As usual.
What do you think tonight? Arsenal and Leeds United, as I said, 2 of the juggernauts, aren't they?
Yes, I mean, it's going to be an exciting game. I'm sure it's, for Leeds, it's their last hope of glory this year. And for Arsenal, it's a chance for them to maintain their interest in all 3 competitions. So it will be an exciting, a very good game, I'm sure. And I'm not too sure there'll be lots of goals in it. Hopefully there is, but certainly it's going to be a big, big game here this evening.
Well, it's always very tight. That was the case 2 years ago when these two met. The Gunners and Leeds, of course, managed by George Graham and Howard Wilkinson, respectively. They've each won the title in 2 last seasons that have passed. George Graham reckons it's easier to win the Cups, though.
There's no question about it. A Cup's a lot easier to win than the League Championship. There's no question about that. If you can hit form, on about six, seven, or maybe 8 occasions in a season. You can win a cup, but win a championship's a lot more difficult.
If when I've been here, as long as he's been there, my record's is good, then I'll be quite pleased.
I think there's a lot of quality on both sides. Both managers are trying to outfox one another with different tactics and all that. But at the end of the day, it's down to the players. How many of my players perform on the day? If we can outplay his team, like, we're going to win. But there's good players on either side, and it's how many of theirs is going to play well on the day, and how many of mine is going to play well on the day, will get the result, hopefully. I expect it to be a very tight game again.
Yes, I mean, that I think it's going to be. Arsenal and Leeds United live tonight on Sky Sports. The FA Cup, ironically, the one domestic honour that George Graham hasn't won. But Kenny, you were with him when he won the Littlewoods Cup, beating Liverpool, of course. That's when it all started, wasn't it?
2-1, Charlie Nicholas, yeah, it was great. George, when he first came to the club, worked ever so hard, and obviously winning the championship twice, teams want to beat him, and it's going to become harder. But I think they'll win tonight, and I think there will be a couple of goals for Arsenal. I
know you had your ups and downs with George Graham, particularly towards the end of your time here, but I think you admire him as a manager, don't you?
I think he's an excellent coach. I think he's in the mould of Terry Venables, and I think he's going to succeed and be one of the great managers of all time. And
was that fairly evident to you from the time that he took over? You knew that he was right for Arsenal?
Yeah, the things he worked on, he worked very hard and they were very successful. Very successful, and I think he'll do well, George.
You said there might not
I hope he does.
So the gunner's still deep in you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a great club. Fantastic to play for.
Yeah.
Really
you said there wasn't many goals. There might not be many goals. There certainly was at Elland Road in the league match when the two met earlier this season. 3-0 it finished to Leeds. Kenny Sansom and Ray Clements, our guests tonight. Ivory, of course, Kenny Sansom knows plenty about. It's a bit special, big match here, Kenny, isn't it?
It is fantastic, especially when it's a packed house like this. It'd be nice if the other end was open, it'd be even more exciting, but it'd be a great atmosphere tonight and the lads will love it.
And Ray, I mean, you've experienced this place too in opposition colours, haven't you? Notably Tottenham's in recent times.
Yes, I mean, the big game, it's a great atmosphere here, and you can hear the noise outside. The atmosphere is really building up, and both sets of fans at this present moment think they can win this game, I'm sure.
Kenny's firmly on Arsenal tonight. What do you think, Ray?
Well, looking at the form at the moment, you have to go with Arsenal. They're stringing 1 or 2 results together. Leeds United's form away from home has been dismal all year, and I suppose from Howard's point of view, we can think it can only improve, and what a night for it to improve by coming to Arsenal and getting a result. But everything points to an Arsenal win. But then the cup isn't like that, is it?
Certainly not, as we've seen time and again down the years. Arsenal and Leeds United. Crowd will get their first glimpse of them in a moment or so. There we go. The basket's lost. Go on, son, out you go. Enjoy it. Let's join our match commentators, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. 2 footballing heavyweights who perhaps taken more punishment than expected this season, but both capable of landing the knockout punch in the FA Cup. Arsenal already strong contenders in the Coca-Cola Cup and still reasonably ranked in the Premier League, but Leeds United are fighting tonight to keep their season alive. Arsenal had planned for the absence of Ian Wright, the second of his 3-match ban. Kevin Campbell, a capable replacement, but they've also been affected by a rash of injuries. Steve Bold, Anders Limpar and young Mark Platts all ruled out. So Andy Linnigan, a former Leeds player, stands in again in the centre of defence alongside Tony Adams, and there's a recall in midfield for 19-year-old Ray Parlour.
Yes, and with Limpar and Flats out through injury, Martin, I think that George Graham will opt for what would be a 4-3-3 formation. He'll use a narrow midfield of Hilliard, Parlour and Jensen, and it'll be Campbell, Smith and Merson spread across the front line. The Leeds United team sheet confirms that in goal tonight is John Lukic, who was left out of the last 2 games. Also back in favour, Chris Fairclough, returning to a defence in which David Weatherall is being given an extended run. Mel Sterland, we learn, sadly out for the rest of the season after his brief comeback. Howard Wilkinson has resisted the temptation to bring back David Rocastle on a ground he knows so well. Rocastle is on the bench, along with another Londoner, Rodney Wallace.
Well, Howard Wilkinson's formation is less predictable for me. I think that Chris Fairclough will come in at right back in place of Mayor Sterling, but it's ahead of that where I'm not so sure. It might look on paper as if it would be a 4-man midfield and a 2-man up front, but just watch in case Gordon Strachan plays wide left and they just drop number 8, Carl Shutt, into the right side and what could prove to be a 5-man midfield. The mention of midfield, and central midfield may well be the key area tonight. And it will be fascinating for me to see how the youth and drive of young Ray Parlour measure up against the class and experience of Gary McAllister.
John Lukic hoping that his familiarity with Highbury will help him produce his best once again tonight. While for David Seaman, facing Leeds is just as special. Leeds, of course, were his first league club. Joe Worrell has been all the way to Wembley in the FA Cup. The honour of refereeing the 1989 Liverpool versus Everton final was his. So Leeds United to kick off in their strip of all yellow tonight. Their decline can be traced to a current lack of balance. Howard Wilkinson will tell you that the title was won because he had the best team, not necessarily the biggest squad. And since then, that team affected by injury and loss of form, particularly in away games. They've not shut out the opposition in an away match for more than 9 months now. Shutt, who had his moment in the spotlight in Barcelona in that playoff game in the European Cup against Stuttgart when he came on and scored the winner. He's got a good record in the FA Cup too in the past, particularly in his time with Sheffield Wednesday when he and Lee Chapman were in tandem then and got Wednesday to the semi-finals. But twice in the last 10 years, Arsenal and Leeds have locked horns in the 4th round of this competition. Each confrontation has been extended. 3 matches, 5 hours of football in 1983, 4 matches and 7 hours of play 2 years ago. And both times it was Arsenal who came out on top. But whatever happens, this 4th round meeting will be conducted over shorter hours. If it goes to a replay, of course, that will be the final game, even if penalties are required. Andy Linnigan's header, Gary McAllister. Strachan. And some Leeds appeal for an infringement on McAllister by Lee Dixon. The referee was right on the spot and nothing was given.
Well, I'm just looking at the formation. That's what we've been doing the first couple of minutes, Martin. And really, the midfield players of Leeds, the area I mentioned, would be strange. They've been all over the place. And now, looks, Carl Shutt is lining up, as we thought he might, in this right side. And it looks like Gordon Strachan is the one in the centre trying to get in contact with Lee Chapman. With McAllister and Batty behind him and Gary Speed on the left side. But certainly Strachan's been the furthest forward midfield player at the moment.
Strachan trying to keep in touch with Lee Chapman, who has a good record playing against Arsenal for Leeds. He's not been in the best of form recently. And of course, Arsenal have a score to settle from this season. Parlour. Shutt trying to prevent a corner. He's got to scamper. And Joe Worrell checks with the linesman, who's on the far side, as to what the decision is.
I don't think Joe knew himself, in all honesty. I think he looked at the lines. The linesman came round the corner at the far side to indicate, I think, a corner. Joe wasn't so sure about the signal there, and as he's not sure himself, he's given a throw-in.
Yes, certainly the linesman indicated that he thought it was a corner.
It's as good as, though, with a long throw of Winterburn.
Linnigan trying to get in there. Batty didn't clear. Merson aiming for the far post area, trying to give John Lukic an early problem before he settled. Lukic back in the side tonight. Mervyn Day giving his thoughts to local radio. Pitch in beautiful condition, and happily for the players who all over the country really recently have been troubled by gusting winds. It's a relatively still night.
Beautiful night for football, Martin. It really is. Certainly at pitch levels, not a breath of wind down there. The pitch, as you say, is in fabulous condition for this time of the year. It really looks like a pitch fit for the beginning of a season.
Weatherall's header. His shot. Kevin Campbell was across quickly. Although 2 years is a long time in football, the hardcore of both sides very similar to the teams which took so long to settle their fourth round epic in 1991. Well, a foot raised by Chapman. Linnigan was brave and got to the ball. Campbell. It's good play by Weatherall. Campbell is such a handful for his sheer size. Still learning about the finer points of the game.
There's a great little diagonal run from Kevin Campbell there, and had his first touch been better, then I think David Weatherall might have been struggling, but he did recover well.
Adams. George Graham questioned his players' appetite for success after a dismal finish to 1992. They've given a very positive answer to that question. 4 wins and a draw so far in the new year. Dorigo. Chapman trying to use his strength, but Linnigan was an immovable barrier then.
I think with both fullbacks, what would help both fullbacks, certainly from Arsenal's point of view, is the fact that with only Chapman being the one man up front, Martin, as they know, and their experience will tell you, Winterburn and Dixon, that they really can push as close as they want to both speed and shot, and not really worry too much about the cover.
The linesman was flagging. There's a similarity to Arsenal in midfield. We'll just look again at the Parlour challenge on the far side.
Well, he's fully committed at all times. That's the one thing you can say about Ray Parlour.
Just going to mention, Andy, a match you'll remember when Arsenal won at Liverpool early in the season with this midfield. Played very well at Anfield.
In particular, Ray Parlour, didn't he? Had one of his, probably would regard as one of his best games of the season that day.
Batting. Now shot. Strachan ahead of him down the touchline. Weatherall guided off by Chapman. It's a good stretch by Strachan, but he could only play the ball, not keep it close to him. Batty's tackle on John Jensen. Hillier. The style of Arsenal's play tonight really forced on George Graham by the limitations in his selection. Steve Ball's injury, a big blow yesterday, hurt in training. Good work by Dorigo.
Didn't really commit anybody there, Ray Parlour. He had the ball in plenty of space, but opted to pass a little bit too early for me. I would like to see him drive on a little bit further and commit one of the defenders.
The winners tonight are at home in the 5th round against either Middlesbrough or Nottingham Forest. It's not a good kick by Lukic, helped by another former Arsenal man, Chris White.
But that's what Nigel Winterburn can do, Martin, against Carl Shutt when he's there. Normally, fullbacks are loath to go that far forward. But Nigel Winterburn knows that they'll have a spare man at the back with 2 centre-backs against Lee Chapman.
Strachan in that central role. David Seaman kicking that one away. Seaman, of course, who had an unhappy time back at Ellen Road in the league when he came off injured in Arsenal's biggest defeat of the season. Didn't come off quite quickly enough because he was still on the pitch, but in pain when Leeds took the lead early in the second half. They went on to get a deserved 3-0 success. Batty. Shut. Hit Winterburn. Ball to arm rather than the other way around. Not by Parler. Gary Speed, who's having an exceptional season in many respects, including goal scoring. 3 in his last 4 games. 11 already this season, his best ever total. Out by Winterburn. Adams helping Linnigan, whose first touch was a little unsure. White. Picked off by Merson.
It's been a good start, this, for Leeds, for me. After a good opening 10 minutes. They look confident, they're looking to pass it about, and their midfield players, all the influential ones, Speed, McAllister, and Strachan in particular, are all getting involved in the game.
Well, it is a very big night, arguably a bigger night for Leeds than for Arsenal. If only because Arsenal have other fish to fry in other competitions. They could still make a run at the Premier League. Semi-finalists in the Coca-Cola Cup against Crystal Palace, a team that they've really had the Indian sign on since Palace have been promoted. When I spoke to Howard Wilkinson today, he played down the reports that the Leeds squad would be dismantled if they go out tonight. It's not as easy as that, the manager said, but I'm sure the message is quite clear.
I think we're talking about the majority of the players that brought Leeds the league title last year, and you don't just throw away good players like that. He's too good a manager to be doing things like that in half a season.
And even if you wanted to, how do you replace them? Lee Chapman, 33 now. He's been with Leeds for 3 very, very profitable years, personally and for the club. A major role in a position where he takes the flak, but gets the goals.
Good tactic, that free kick, Martin. Both centre-backs were gone into the middle of the field there, middle of the penalty area. They left Gary Speed against Lee Dixon. And I think any ball hung up there, I would fancy Gary Speed to win most of them, I really would.
Dixon. Smith, who works unselfishly to provide an outlet, and Arsenal have the ball at the back. They are criticised at times for bypassing midfield. They certainly, when they get the ball in midfield, they move it on quickly. There's no instruction for the likes of Hillier and Jensen to dwell in possession. Forward quickly from Linnigan. Parler with the flick. And Karlsson lined that up like a batsman, sensing a half volley could hit over the bowler's head.
When you mentioned Hillier and Jensen, and I think their strengths are breaking the game up, Martin, and keeping it simple. Confidence from David Seaman. And I think that's where Leeds may have the edge. And I was talking about central midfield could be a crucial area. And if there's a lot of play in there, then certainly with the likes of Strachan, McAllister and Speed, I feel that they've got the edge and been able to create things.
Campbell chasing in. And it's Lukic's turn. Didn't do it as well as Seaman, and that really could have been a catastrophe. Alan Smith, in fact, fouled Lukic.
He got lucky, John Lukic, as well, though, Martin. He really did. He's got the free kick. I'm not so sure I agree with the decision from Joe Worrell, because it really was a poor touch there. And had Alan Smith been a couple of yards closer, then really he could have been just sliding this in. I'm saying if Alan Smith had gambled as well a little bit, then he could have just been in a couple of yards earlier, and he just might have been sliding the ball into an empty net.
Well, managers these days will ask their forwards to chase in and try and catch goalkeepers out like that. And there was a tunnel conversation between Howard Wilkinson and Stuart Houston after speaking to the referee as to try and get some clarification with the officials as to what the offside situation would be against players who have followed in, like Kevin Campbell did a moment ago. Would they be ruled as interfering with play? Still a big talking point within the game, how to make the best of the law in the attacking and the defending manner. And not all officials see things quite the same way. 14 minutes gone. It's a throw for Arsenal in the hands of Lee Dixon. Andy Linningham trying to get there. McAllister reacted a little quicker than Jensen did there, but just knocked it to Adams. Here's Winterburn. Smith. Matty trying to chase Merson, who ran into Shutt's tackle. Merson. It's Tony Adams beyond the far post, but Weatherall defended soundly. Well, in the centre of the Leeds defence, David Weatherall, a new face to many of you perhaps. He's 21, he's got a first-class honours degree in chemistry. While he was studying, he was a part-time player at Sheffield Wednesday and came in the deal with John Newsom on a freedom of contract. Howard Wilkinson knew all about him from his days in Sheffield.
Remember Ron Atkinson talking about both those boys as well when he was at Villa, when I was at Villa with him last year, both Weatherall and Newsom, and he was very complimentary about them as kids and thought they really would go on and have big futures in the game. And John Newsom we know all about, played many times for Leeds this season. As you say, David Weatherall, a bit of a new face in the league, and looks far too intelligent to be a footballer for me, Mark.
Well, it says a great deal about the appeal of this wonderful game that he's chosen for a career in it, when obviously he's got other options as well.
It's that free kick again, isn't it, though? They're aiming for speed almost at all times, but David Hillier there just took a little bit of responsibility. I think what Gary Speed is saying there to Chris White is don't hit it straight at me, but put it in the space. And he's right. No use hitting balls straight at players. Put it in front of him so he can go in and he can attack it on the run.
Gary Speed, who got crucial goals against Charlton, home and away in the third round. Over Chapman. Parlour. Under pressure from Batty. McAllister. But by and large, these players know so much about each other. All sorts of little subtleties going on out there to just try and find some space to break the game open. Parlour with a clever turn, help behind him from Winterburn. Well, it was a good idea, the early cross. Smith and Campbell would have appreciated that, but they would have appreciated a better contact with the ball from the Arsenal left-back. Strachan. But when he gets the ball in the centre, he's perhaps further forward than he would be if he was pressed into the pack in midfield. McAllister. You would say that there's more variety, potentially, to Leeds in the middle of the pitch. But Arsenal have got plenty of variety of their own in Merson. Oh, Campbell might reach this. He has done. It's hit the top of the post.
Well, I was just going to say, yes, they may have more variation in the midfield area, but it's at the back where they've looked worrying all season away from home. And this again, they look to have plenty of people back, don't they? But Kevin Campbell comes into the back post and strikes this very, very well. And had it been on target, I think John Lukic would have been struggling to stop this. Just next behind Chris White, left foot drive and just can't keep it under the bar.
Well, Stuart Houston, I would think with a word of praise as well as perhaps something for Merson to pass on from the bench. But Campbell loves the ball in front of him, as he got then, when he just got to use his considerable muscle power to reach it, which he did. Winterburn. Jensen. Oh, Adams just got away with it. McAllister recognised that the Arsenal captain might have been losing control of the ball then. Nicely done by Linegan. Jensen. Waiting for some runners there. He got one, Dixon down the right. Smith. Papala. Adams with the header. Now Winterburn.
Better Martin. Crowd are buzzing a little bit now. It's opened up a little bit. Seems to have upped in tempo slightly.
Campbell. Smith was facing the goal, but Campbell turned with the ball and produced a shot of considerable venom.
Well, they've no right to get as much power on this. Came from really a standing start, if you watch it there. And he just swings his right leg at it. And look at, as you say, the venom behind the shot. John Lukic happy to take that at the second attempt.
His shot. Leeds are doing one bit of man-for-man marking. Chris Fairclough is picking up Paul Merson. In fact, Merson's gone back to take care of Fairclough if he can. And he deals with the cross from Batty. Can't get the ball away. Brought out now by a very eager Alan Smith. Campbell, whose confidence will have reached higher levels over the last 5 minutes with 2 good strikes at goal. Merson, Fairclough a little late to get to him. Jensen, but only as far as speed.
Well, Arsenal have suddenly come to life, haven't they, in the last 2 or 3 minutes? Kevin Campbell particularly to the fore.
Yes, he's been the catalyst. Shot. Oh, now, how good is Seaman's control? Good enough. The better the goalkeeper does, of course, the more confident the outfield players are in his ability.
The more chances they're likely to take, and the more time then that there's an awful chance of a mistake, isn't there?
I bet you wish you were still playing, Andy. You'd have been roaring in then.
You never get a rest these days. I'd have been absolutely shattered after 20 minutes of a modern game.
You'd have had an excuse to put David Seaman in the crowd. His speed. Dixon. There's no way back to the goalkeeper from there. But Lee Dixon kept his nerve and just banged it against McAllister and got Arsenal a throw.
Tell you what would be interesting, Martin, if George Graham over there or Stuart Houston just got a hold of Merson and just said, you know, let's come over to this near side and play there and just test if Chris Fairclough is going to mark him. And if he does, wouldn't it leave a lovely big hole on this near side for them to explore? Because I don't think Tony Dorigo would be too keen on coming over and swapping sides. I think he's made that clear, Tony, that he doesn't like the right side. And I'd just test him. Test Chris Fairclough.
Jensen. Aiming for Parler, who's certainly got license to attack from midfield to get in behind Campbell and Smith and support them.
This is this big area I'm talking about that Nigel Winterburn can get as soon as Paul Merson leaves this near side.
Parler. Or Dixon. Merson has joined Campbell in the centre. Smith helping out at closer quarters to Parler on the far side. Gordon Strachan, who's only a couple of weeks or so away from his 36th birthday. Linegan. Trying to give Campbell some service over the back, but when Fairclough is being pulled around and he's been taken by Merson to the other side, Carl Shutt has shown a good awareness of playing it right back.
But when he does that and goes back on almost to level with the centre-backs, as I was saying, what a huge area for Arsenal if they want to just knock the ball into.
His speed. He scored! Arsenal were so statuesque that for a second you thought the whistle had gone. But Lee Chapman played a part, and Gary Speed has delivered yet again for Howard Wilkinson. What a season he's having.
Well, you mentioned he's in good goal-scoring form, and just look at the way he takes it on his chest. Goes across Linegan, and then just shows you don't have to smash the ball into the net. If he'd opted for power in this situation, I don't think he would have scored. But look at that, he just nicks it past the flying legs of David Seaman. That's a great push for Leeds.
Arsenal 0, Leeds United 1. Gary Speed's 12th goal of the season, coming in the 24th minute. And even when he's pushed to play wide on the left-hand side, which he hasn't done throughout this season, he is still capable of surging into the centre at the right moment and anticipating the drop of the ball with Chapman challenging. And Arsenal had no answer. Strachan.
Oh, great skill, great skill.
Attacking Linegan. Merson. Well, Leeds striking after Kevin Campbell had twice threatened for Arsenal. McAllister. Chapman ahead of him. Shot coming from deep. McAllister still able to control the ball, control the attack. Speed. Plenty of movement from Leeds. Speed shot! The flag was up for offside and it wouldn't have counted. It gives us an opportunity to get some news from the touchline on the far side from Nick Collins.
Well, Martin, we had a visitor just now to our position just to the left of the dugouts. David O'Leary, the Arsenal substitute, came over to have a look at the replay of that goal. The Arsenal bench were a little concerned there may have been a handball in the build-up, but we couldn't spot one, and David O'Leary went back to report just that.
Here's Hillier. Parlour. And Weatherall wasn't leaving that to the goalkeeper, wasn't leaving it to chance.
That's good defending, Martin. You're a centre-back in your own 6-yard box and you're not sure. You get it out of play.
Claims that McAllister controlled that with an arm.
I don't think the referee did a very good view of that situation, but certainly the linesman did.
Parlour. Adams is in there. So the Leeds display so far reflecting the importance of this match to their season. Let's have a look at the goal. Well, we'll bring you another angle on it when the ball next goes out of play. Smith. Matty buzzing characteristically in the pursuit of possession for Leeds. Weatherall telling White to play it back, but Chris White's been in the game a bit longer than David Weatherall and knew the safer ball. Strachan. Merson's tackle. Maybe Arsenal can go forward from here. Hillier.
They're hustling them very well, Leeds, at the moment, particularly in that midfield area. Anytime Arsenal player puts his foot on the ball, there's a yellow jersey of Leeds there, very, very close to them.
Winterberg. Campbell trying to take the ball on the outside of his right foot, completely missed it. McAllister and Strachan. Batty. Arsenal have to back off. Weatherall. Well, it was an untidy jump by Hillier.
Yeah, the influence of Strachan and McAllister in particular now is beginning to show, isn't it? They've both got that role to play free, and David Batty's just providing them with the insurance behind them if they want to drive forward. Little David Batty just sitting in there and protecting his two centre-backs in case of a break.
Given their defensive frailties, Leeds will not be settling for 1-0, you can be sure of that. Strachan was hit low, came close to shut first of all.
I think this, we're just going to have a quick look at the goal just to clear up handball or not. I think there's, although it's not clear, I think for me that hits him right in the middle of the chest, and that's again a super finish from a man on the top of his confidence.
George Graham may have got word from down at the bench, but certainly we haven't found an angle to suggest that Gary Speed did hang it. Here's Campbell though. Is this the equaliser? Lukic says no.
Took it too wide for me. Didn't do anything to beat Chris White. Chris White just mistimed his tackle totally. And just there, I thought he would drive inside. He went straight away from the goal, and that made the angle very tight for him and made John Lukic's job easier than it should have been.
It's certainly the player who's standing in tonight for Ian Wright is providing the thrust that George Graham would want, and will need even more devil in his attack. Arsenal now have to defend this free kick to be taken by McAllister. Over Weatherall. Brought away by Winterberg. Leeds have never beaten Arsenal in a cup tie on this ground. The only two wins they've ever had against Arsenal in cup competitions have both been at Wembley. The FA Cup 1972, the League Cup 1968. And George Graham was a losing player in both Arsenal teams. This cross from Winterburn. This is Hillier. And this is Lukic.
Well, they opened his account at this end, didn't they? David Hillier recently with a really fine strike from way out the box. That on his right foot. This one, he controls and brings it on his left side, which isn't his strongest, but he does well in hitting the target. Make the goalkeeper safe, that's important.
Well, John Lukic, who's just been reminded recently that no one is indispensable. But Howard Wilkinson perhaps always had this game in mind to bring Lukic back, even though the decision brought disappointment to Mervyn Day. And it's a lot colder watching than it is playing. Headed by Speed.
What a threat he is. Doesn't he give you that added dimension, Gary Speed? He's got magnificent spring, he's got good movement, and here it shows us both. David Hillier, the man, supposedly marking him, but look at the spring that Speed gets, but just can't direct his header.
McAllister. Now Chapman. Strachan furthest forward. McAllister. This is wonderful football by Leeds United. Memories of their displays that took them to the championship. A sort of style that hasn't happened often enough for them this season.
It's the sort of move that as a neutral mark you want to finish in a goal, don't you? Wonderful one-touch stuff from them. Look at this, all the way down the pitch. One touch, one touch, one touch there. Great football.
Running up above Chapman. Dorigo, flick for McAllister. Might manufacture something now for Chapman. Can he bundle it in? Lee Chapman has done it at the expense of Arsenal again. The Leeds players were saying, well, he may have been a bit below par recently, but you can bet he'll pull something special out tonight, and he has done. It wasn't a classic, but it counts at a crucial stage for Leeds United.
It's a classic striker's goal, but look at the part McAllister plays. Great skill, feeds into that danger area. And I tell you what, Lee Chapman's made a career out of bundling the ball over the net like that. If you don't get in there, you don't score, Martin. Chapman gets in there. It's not great, but how effective it is.
And it's fair reward after all the build-up play that you were eulogising about, and he produced the corner, which produced the goal. Winterburn. Here's Adams. Arsenal already having to take some chances, put extra players on, feeling the pinch on their own patch. Possibly a free kick there, rather unnecessarily conceded by Gary Speed, who didn't need to push Dixon. It's his 15th goal this season. In the last 2.5 seasons, he scored 7 goals against Arsenal for Leeds United. The latest made by Gary McAllister. Merson's volley into the mural.
Got a lot of time to think about it, didn't he, Paul Merson? Just didn't connect. Well, let's have another look at Lee Chapman's goal. There you see Chapman there, look at him, getting in there, doesn't quite connect, but he's got a determination that he's going to get it in there somehow.
And he's so big that Lee Dixon, who was trying to get it away off the line, had nowhere to put the ball. He could only put it against Chapman's body. I'm sure you're right, Andy. For players of Chapman's type, that's just as satisfying as hitting a volley from 20 yards. You've done your job. A bit of concern here for Leeds that the captain is down.
Well, they certainly won't want anything too serious wrong with Gary McAllister. He really has started the game well. I said it could be a crucial area, and at the moment McAllister and Strachan are dominating it. It looks like the right ankle certainly he's holding as he goes into the tackle. And I think he looks like he's gone over and it gets trapped underneath the Arsenal player's foot there. And they can be nasty, Mark, they can. They'll be hoping that they're not too much wrong. But they'll be concerned about ligament damage more than anything.
Well, it's been excellent entertainment so far at Highbury tonight, if not perhaps for the Arsenal fans. We're back here again on Sunday, Super Sunday, the latest chapter in the Liverpool story. Well, Howard Wilkinson, who fought long and hard to come up with something a little bit different, to take on an adversary tonight who knows so much about him and his players, George Graham. And the manager of Leeds United hoping that the plan which is working so well won't be knocked out of alignment by the injury to McAllister's ankle.
Well, two things that he has done obviously are the man-for-man marking of Fairclough and Merson, and of course the little switch round in midfield. It seems to have given Strachan that little bit more room, and at the moment both things have worked very, very well for him.
McAllister not too keen to get involved then. He's limping, but now stretching his legs to get across and try and run the injury off. disappointed themselves so much when they lost 3-0 at Ellen Road in November, wanting to put the record straight in the FA Cup here. Already 2 goals adrift on their own ground. Leeds have the measure of them at the moment. But here's Winterburn. It was Strachan scampering back, and Shutt just hits it into the space, which in the circumstances was wise enough.
They won't get that much time against this Leeds side tonight to sit and dwell and think what they might be doing with the ball.
When this tie came out of the hat, it was one to make you lick your lips, and it hasn't disappointed.
I think it's been everything we thought. We spoke before the game, you and I, didn't we? We said it might not be as tight as 2 years ago because of the way the teams have been playing this year. I think that's been absolutely right.
Linigan. It was Shutt who cleared again. He spent most of his match doing more defending than attacking. But of immense value to the team. It has been a real team effort by Leeds thus far, but a long way to go. And Arsenal will know that Leeds, in terms of defending, are not the finished article. But so far, John Lukic has shut out.
Well, did you say earlier, Mark, that they haven't kept a clean sheet so far this season in Liga Cup ties away from home, Leeds?
Not since before they won the championship, a 0-0 draw at Anfield last April.
I mean, if George Graham's or his Arsenal players are looking for something to keep them going, and they certainly should be, then that'll be something that he'll use at half-time, won't he?
They nearly managed it at Charlton in the replay in the last round, but conceded a penalty late on. Smith. Dorigo covering. Lukic clearing, and the linesman spotting that Chapman was a bit slow in getting back. But Chapman, who flicked the ball on for speed to score the first and collected the second himself, is enjoying coming back to Highbury, where he didn't have a happy time during some 16 months as an Arsenal player. Chris White was here for much longer and had a good run as a regular. Smith. Than Fairclough. Fairclough couldn't prevent the cross, but Dorigo headed it away up to Chapman. Linigan. Hillier keeping it going forward, but not in play.
That's what they're lacking for me at the moment, is in that area with both Ron Jensen and David Hillier. Both have their own special qualities, both very similar, I feel, Martin, but neither of them possess the craft or the passing ability of a Strachan or a McAllister. And that's obviously things that certainly young David Hillier will be working on at his game.
They're both good at getting the ball, tackling, and as the Arsenal fanzine says, Jensen the interceptor. Little motoring joke for you.
Wasn't even that funny, to be honest. Thought I'd please you by laughing, you know.
It's Jensen the passer here. Adams. Campbell has kept it in. And Carl Shutt, who was nearly caught napping then, regained his concentration in time. Speed's lost out. Shutt wants this one to run.
He's done a good job, to be fair to Carl Shutt. Many people obviously know Carl as a front man, but he's filled in and he's been very disciplined in this right side.
This is speed. Strachan to the left. Oh. Well, they can't get near him fairly at the moment. Andy Linigan, almost a bully there to the little Scot.
Well, it's a clumsy tackle, isn't it? Look, I mean, he makes no attempt for me to play the ball, David Linigan, and catches him what looks quite a painful one across the knees.
Andy, you were talking about Carl Schutt, and he doesn't mind where he plays as long as he plays. Howard Wilkinson has used him as a squad man mainly, particularly last season, although Schutt played enough games to get a championship medal. But I can tell you, on the last day of last season, Schutt wasn't in the 13 that were picked to play against Norwich, and he was so disappointed he almost didn't go out to get his medal and the presentations on the pitch. And one or two of his friends pointed out that that sort of occasion doesn't happen too often, so you better go out and enjoy it. And happily thought better of it and went out and got his reward for his contribution. McAllister, here is Schutt. Rolled over by Winterburn.
The signs of a little bit of frustration creeping in the Arsenal players, and I think George Graham will be anxious for the half-time whistle to blow so that he can get his boys in the dressing room and just calm them down, settle them down, tell them that they're still very much in this game, to be a little bit more disciplined.
George Graham still waiting for the half-time whistle. He's at the top of the steps in the director's box there. Head off down the stairs as soon as the whistle goes, but wondering here whether Arsenal might have further agony to endure in the first half from a free kick. Undoubtedly, Arsenal hampered by the injuries and, of course, the suspension, which was self-induced by Ian Wright. Will this be a Tony Dorigo special? He tries, and he had the range.
Yeah, it was far enough out for David Seaman to be able to see it all the way.
Even when he's had some difficult moments this season, John Lukic has always looked a very phlegmatic character. Panic there and let the ball run into the area where he could grasp it safely. Campbell and Fairclough along with Merson. That's his job, but Smith spreads it for Dixon. Lukic didn't really get to his full height to catch the cross. The referee says he was fouled.
I think he's right in this case, Martin. You know me, I'm always one who says goalkeepers get too much protection, but as you watch in the number 10, it is Paul Merson. I just think he looks at John Lukic, and for me, he's just jumping straight into the goalkeeper. Referee's spot on.
Might have a look at John Lukic around the eyes. It's not as though he's had one or two too many late nights. He's been suffering from an eye infection caused by a hazard for goalkeepers. Getting some mud in there, diving out at feet. Campbell, Winterburn, and Lukic again, looking back towards his best.
Good football all round, good movement from Winterburn, good early ball, and good goalkeeping.
Joe Worrell just assessing how much time he should add on. We're in the 3rd minute thus far. Well, Leeds United have come out here and given a first-half performance very much in keeping with the importance of this FA Cup 4th round tie to them and their season. Gary Speed gave them the lead with the help of Lee Chapman. Chapman supplied the second himself from close range, and good news for Leeds fans, the defence is looking sounder tonight. We've got Kenny Sansom and Ray Clements analysing the action for you, and that all comes after the break.
Who's the most hated man on the terraces at Borussia Mönchengladbach?
Most hated man. Go on, I'll give up.
The one who says, give us a B, give us an O.
atmosphere's been electric.
Oh, he's bowled in!
The cricket's been explosive.
Drive, and they're home. They've got it. England have won.
The England Tour of India is underway. The one-day series is level, but now the real test begins. Live and exclusive from Calcutta, ball-by-ball coverage of the first test match.
Joy personified.
The heat is on for Graham Gooch and his men. The first test starts Friday morning at 3:45, only on Sky Sports.
My very latest cut!
Do you know, Gordon, they say you are what you eat. Do you know, I can't remember swallowing 22 footballs, can you?
Welcome back to the Monday Night Football half-time. Arsenal 0, Leeds 2. Some analysis in a moment or so. Let's enjoy the Sky Strikers, though. Welcome back. Should we check the match facts? Arsenal 0, Leeds 2, the half-time score. Here's the rest of these statistics. Arsenal 5 shots, Leeds 4. 4 of Arsenal's on target, 3 of Leeds United's. Just the 2 corners so far. Not too many free kicks conceded and only 2 offside decisions. No bookings. Ray Clements and Kenny Sansom, our guests in the studio this evening. Kenny very much on the Gunners, of course. Ray Clements, a neutral tonight, Ray.
Yes, very much so.
Here comes the first goal, scored by Gary Speed. Now let's look closely. Was there a hint of handball anywhere in here, Ray?
I think Lee Chapman did well knocking it on there. No, I think it hit his chest, but I think Linnigan will probably be disappointed here that Linnigan's still favourite for the ball, even when Speed's taking it on his chest, and then Speed does exceptionally well, gets across the face of him, and with his unfavourite foot, his right foot, it's definitely hit him in the stomach. It's not a handball, and he's done well getting across Linnigan, hasn't he? And then tucks it very neatly into the corner. Agonisingly, I would say there.
Yes, certainly from Arsenal's point of view.
Gets his arm across Linnigan there, doesn't he? Shrugs him away and then just tucks it in there.
He worked for it, didn't he? He wanted it.
Oh, desperately. And I say, I think Andy Linnigan will be disappointed with himself there. He could have been stronger, maybe a little bit quicker to stop Speed getting across the face of him.
Here's the second goal, scored by Lee Chapman. Can he take this one? And this from the corner, and that following that lovely one-touch break.
There's a great little back heel there. McAllister go past Jensen quite easily there. And he just slips it across. Alan Smith has left Lee Chapman free there. He's got a little lucky ricochet there, but he forced it in. He wasn't going to miss that. Not very good defending again there from Arsenal. That was Dorigo.
McAllister.
Jensen's just dived
away
in there.
From Jensen, yes.
This is the bit there. You can see where Alan Smith is. He's still marking from the corner. And he's bundled in.
And as Andy Gray said, I mean, they all count, don't they, whether they're from 2 or 20 yards.
He prefers them one, I think.
I think he's quite enjoyed that goal there somehow.
Against the Arsenal as well.
And at Highbury. Might have been different had Kevin Campbell scored. His struck the outside of the post, was it? Top of the bar. A Paul Merson break on the right-hand side.
Well, Merson is always liable to create something from here. You know, he gets away probably for the only time in the game so far from Chrissy Fairclough, who's been doing a man-to-man job. And great ball across there, and Campbell makes up a lot of space and gets to it on his left foot. Great power. Lukic wouldn't have saved that one. Lukic has had a very good first half, but he would never have saved that if it had been just 3 or 4 inches lower. But great ball in from Merson, though. Anyway, sort of ball strikers love to come and come onto. Makes up a lot of ground, doesn't he?
Doesn't he just? 2-0 to Leeds United at half-time. What can Arsenal do about that? We'll find out next here on Sky Sports.
So you're about the series, Fantasy Island.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to the Monday Night Football FA Cup 4th round tie tonight. Arsenal against Leeds United. Arsenal 0, Leeds 2. which is not the half-time score that Kenny Sansom was hoping for. What can the Gunners do about that, Kenny, do you think?
Obviously, they've got to work a lot harder, but I think the reason I'm seeing they're losing 2-0 is they're giving the ball away so much. I'd like to know how many times they give the ball away under no pressure at all. And I think they give it to Leeds, really. And Leeds have took advantage of it.
They say 2 is never enough, Ray. What do you think?
Well, in games like this, it just might be, but Arsenal have got to do something somewhere, and if they can get more balls into the box from wide positions, certainly with Winterburn, Carl Schutt's been having to force back to right back because Fairclough's coming in on Strachan, and you would think that maybe they'll try and get Winterburn forward a bit more to get some balls in for Alan Smith and Campbell to get on the end of. But in that first half, certainly they didn't do that enough.
Well, Leeds United are making Arsenal wait. Here they come. Let's rejoin our commentators, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thanks, Richard. Leeds United have been in the 5th round only once since 1977. That was in 1987 when they got to the semi-final, lost to Coventry at Hillsborough. But they'll never have a better chance, you feel, 2 up here, of getting their first ever cup win at Highbury. But Arsenal know that there is a vulnerability about Leeds at the back on the evidence of this season, if not this evening. And if they could get one back quickly, well, there might just be a route to recovery. They have to do it without Ian Wright, with a system that's been somewhat forced on George Graham by other injuries, particularly to Anders Limpar, who's given Leeds a lot of trouble in the past, who's suffering from a calf strain. Dorigo. He's got speed to his left. And centre forward at the moment is Gordon Strachan. Chapman coming from deep.
Well, if he'd got a toe on that, he really was putting himself through. But certainly in the second half, Paul Merson has lined up, Martin, on the right-hand side of the front end. And what's noticeable is that for the first time in the match, Chris Fairclough hasn't come across with him. I wonder if that's a little show of the confidence now that Leeds have in their side, and they're saying we're 2-0 up and we don't need to create that big space there. You don't have to follow Merson all around. Little sign of the confidence that's now in the Leeds side.
Strachan going forward against Linnigan, he's left him, and Arsenal were labouring at the back again.
He's always got a little joke there. I think having a little joke with Andy Linnigan there, but again, almost 36, you say, and he's leaving younger players way behind. Super run from the wee man.
McAllister. Strachan wants it again. Oh, and Hillier followed into Dorigo, who's angered by that. He's not a hothead, Tony Dorigo, but he was obviously hurt. And Joe Worrell's going to book David Hillier.
He's certainly very, very high, David Hillier. He's very late. Tony Dorigo turned very slowly on the ball, and I think that gave young David Hillier the incentive to go after it, but there's no excuse for the height of that tackle, and Joe Worrell quite right to punish it.
So it's a Leeds defence at the moment, with their goalkeeper out taking this free kick, and with Chris Fairclough as a more orthodox right back now. Weatherall and White in the centre, Dorigo on the left. Smith. Just unable to keep it in. Speed. Smith tackling back. I'm sure Arsenal, like most teams, would have had a word about having a go at whoever would be lined up at right back for Leeds. That's no disrespect to Chris Fairclough or John Newsom, of course, who's played there a lot, but Mel Sterling has been missed. Campbell. Merson trying to get into the centre. Campbell was entitled, really, to go on his own then. The helping hands were a bit late on parade. But Leeds got bodies back.
Chris White did well in that situation. Didn't commit himself, said to Kevin Campbell, you're going to do it, you're going to do something special. He stood his ground very well.
Well, Arsenal are renowned in the game for their resolve. They've got a never-say-die attitude, which made it such a shock that they went out at Wrexham last season, when they were caught perhaps with a little bit of complacency. And they were moving towards victory until Wrexham hit them late on. Jensen claiming that it was an Arsenal throw, and the linesman agreed. Campbell, Smith. Tat of passes between the two. And there's Carl Schack helping out at the back again. Winterburn. Here's Parler, who's picked a route through, and Arsenal have won back. A driving run and a very well taken goal from Ray Parler.
This is absolutely super play and very, very timely for Arsenal, isn't it? Started very bright with this half, but look at this great run from Parler. I felt in this case he might have got a penalty had he gone down, but he still was able to keep his balance. Watch the tackle from Weatherall. It's very clumsy. Joe Worrell might have thought of giving a penalty. Decision was made for him. Parler finishes it off. Now we really have got a game.
Arsenal now face a Leeds team that have made a change. Rodney Wallace has come on. Lee Chapman is the player who's gone off. And we'll get some news on that from the far side as soon as possible. The flag went up. The linesman still has the flag up. And still Dixon goes on. Smith misses it. And Joe Worrell is still unaware of an offside decision that was given by the linesman a long, long time ago.
I'll tell you what, Mark, if Alan Smith had knocked that in, there would have been absolute chaos around this ground. The flag stayed up for a long time, and credit to the linesman, he kept it there and he stood there. But can you imagine the uproar? Dixon gets in a wonderful position there, but it just puts too much pace in the cross for me, and Smith can't reach it.
Well, Leeds, yet again, have failed to shut out the opposition in an away game. And their supporters will be worried now as to just how much more ammunition Arsenal can find. Gary McAllister was hurt in the first half, probably given 5 minutes or so to see how it felt in the second half, and on comes David Rocastle, who bade farewell to Arsenal in the summer. It was something of a tearful farewell too for the player, but he recognised the professional opportunities at Ellen Road, although they have been limited. His best game really for Leeds was against Arsenal in the league, his first start in the Premier League.
That might just be a crucial moment in this game, Martin. The loss of Gary McAllister, the skipper, who up until that ankle injury was proving to be really influential in this game. David
Seaman made a token effort to prevent the corner. He couldn't use his hands because it was kicked by Alan Smith.
I have to say though, Mark, kicked by Alan Smith, yes, but if you're telling me that was deliberately kicked back towards David Seaman, I had to have argued with you.
Strachan with the corner. Rocastle not attuned yet. Speed. Leeds claiming a handball. Rodney Wallace. First time from Strachan. What a fine ball it was. Wallace is still waiting in there, and Strachan still looks like a teenager.
Great play, wasn't it? He's so alert, his mind's working overtime. As it dropped to him the first time, his instant first-time ball into the box would have taken everybody by surprise.
It's been a positive response by Leeds to losing a goal, and indeed losing 2 players. Rocastle. Let's get a word from Nick Collins on the substitutions.
Thanks, Martin. Very quickly, we can't confirm yet why Gary McAllister's gone off. I think you're absolutely right about his injury. Lee Chapman, it's a groin injury. We can tell you that.
Thanks, Nick. Well, Gary McAllister was the first player, I believe, that Ray Parlour got past as he moved on to score. And maybe that was the moment where Howard Wilkinson realised that he couldn't risk leaving the captain out there any longer. Campbell. The cup tie that looked to be the pick of the round is turning out to be just that way. Wallace. Rocastle, excellent ball for Strachan, aware of Rodney Wallace straight away. And Joe Worrell has given a decision on the edge of the area. And that certainly stands a second look.
I think the initial contact is there. You see it, the nudge is outside. Look at the referee's position. Right in line. Who can argue with that decision?
And it was a push by Jensen, so rather than obstruction, so a direct free kick. Can Leeds reassert themselves here? Strachan hit Campbell. Oh, Wallace, wonderful stop by Seaman. Ball still in play. That could have put Arsenal out of the FA Cup. But David Seaman keeping them in the game and in the competition. Rocastle. Such an open game, such a contrast to that marathon 2 years ago when you couldn't find a sheet of paper between the two teams.
I mean, this is a save, you're right. This is kept, for me, Arsenal in this year's FA Cup still. But Arsenal, as we know they do, when the ball's cleared, Martin, they're pushed up. They tried to catch Wallace offside. They didn't manage it. And really a free header. I wonder if Rodney will think, I should have buried that. But full credit to the goalkeeper. It was a fine stop.
Arsenal 1, Leeds United 2.
We'll have a look at that save again. Look, there they go out. They're in a line there. You see, there's Winterburn's hand up. They're all up. All the arms are up there, but I think the shot proved that Wallace was onside. And all it showed again was a fine save.
I think it was Nigel Winterburn who did play him on, as he was thinking first and foremost about appealing before he thought about moving out. Rocastle, who has got a very warm welcome in the dressing room area from his former colleagues back at Highbury, and indeed a pretty good reception from the Arsenal fans as well. He enjoyed his brand of football in Arsenal's colours. It seemed he was going to be here for his entire career. Adams. Good block from Hillier. Chris White. So many players here operating against their former club. David Rocastle blinking through the contact lenses. The visibility here very good for a January night. Virtually ideal playing conditions. And the performers enjoying the stage. Rocastle, Strachan. Smith. Parler getting into the centre. Campbell is already there. Smith goes on. Too long.
Overcooked it for me there, Alan Smith. Wanted to do too much on the ball. He had the opportunity, I felt, to deliver the ball earlier into the box. Just delayed too long on it. Arsenal have a look now as if they do feel they really are in the game.
Well, the goal certainly gave them that feel, and so too did David Seaman's save from Rodney Wallace. Dixon, who scored the winner in that epic 2 years ago. Well, the goal that turned out to be the winner at Elland Road. Well, Gary Lewin has had a very busy time. We've spoken about the injuries in his professional life. On Friday, he attended the birth of a daughter, Rebecca. So it's been busy in his private life as well. The best wishes to Gary and his wife, Margaret.
Just catches him, doesn't he? And he's followed through, David Rocastle. Don't think he did an awful lot wrong, but he seemed to win the ball first. But he just followed through. It's caught Lee Dixon and made it a painful one in the ankle. But more pressure for Leeds.
It's certainly not been a bruising game. It's had a fine flow to it, and it's not finished yet. Winterburn with a free kick. There's now a bruise for Rocastle from the raised foot of Parler. Shut, claiming that he played the ball against Merson, and it should be a Leeds throw, which it is. Arsenal have David O'Leary here and Jimmy Carter as their two substitutes tonight. Campbell. Blocked by White. Merson conjuring up. A marvellous try. Lukic almost spoilt the shot by making the save look so easy.
So casual, isn't he, as it dropped to Merson here, and he just manoeuvres a little yard or two for himself and instantly hits it. It's just like plucking apples, isn't it? But John Lukic, that.
Might remember that Arsenal hit a spell of jet propulsion towards the end of last season. Their last 17 games, 10 wins and 7 draws. If they'd got it together a bit earlier, they might have really pushed Leeds for the championship.
It's a type of run that they're hoping they can put together now, isn't it?
Well, they're in,
them back in there.
They're in it at the moment with a great January so far, but obviously it could come to an abrupt end here if Leeds, who are beginning to show signs of strain, can maintain their advantage. Shot. Even the Leeds supporters, I think, are beginning to feel the concern. They've certainly gone quieter after an effervescent first half. Parler has prompted that with his goal. Ray Parler was injured against Aston Villa in a match we brought you live. Sonny Ensign has been in the wars recently. He didn't play at Yeovil in the third round. Speed, even with his heading ability, unable to rise above Linnigan.
Leeds will want to and try to, I'm sure, take the sting out of the game. Free kicks and throw-ins, every time they get one, they'll slow it down. They've got a lot of experience in their side, and they want to just take the sting out of the game if they possibly can. And of course, Arsenal, on the other hand, will want to keep the tempo up, they want to keep it fast and furious, and keep the pressure on the Leeds defence.
Dixon. It was a difficult ball to cross. Oh, look, it flaps, and the referee blows. John Lukic was off the ground when contact was made.
I don't think this one's as obvious as Paul Merson's in the first half, but I feel the same way that Joe Worrall was right there. Kevin Campbell does make contact with his left arm, just drags John Lukic. And again, full marks to Joe Worrall for his positioning. Great view of the whole incident he had.
Smith, who's squeezed it through for Merson. Two to the right, one is Parler, the other Campbell has got back into the centre. That was purposeful work from Parler again. As he gets older, he gets stronger, and the opportunity to dominate in midfield now.
And the importance of Chris White's good position at the near post.
In from Dixon. Jensen. Spot of respite for Leeds, but they don't dally on the free kick. Batty rolling it to Dorigo. Dixon. Smith. Hit him on the clearance by White.
Problem for Leeds as well, Martin, is whereas in the first half if they were in trouble and they were looking to play a long ball, they had Lee Chapman, didn't they? Who was there to flick it on and hold it up and give their defence a rest. Now if they're knocking it long, 9 times out of 10, the big centre-halves are just sending it straight back on top of the Leeds defence, and that is a problem.
This is much harder for Howard Wilkinson's team to get out at the moment. More pressure from another long throw from Dixon. Linnigan, Smith.
Well, it worked well enough, didn't it? Important that Linnigan gets the first touch. He does that, but the second one's just instinctive from Alan Smith. No real idea of the direction, but just hit the target, and that's what he had to do.
Arsenal haven't won the FA Cup since 1979.
You can't believe it, do you think?
Well, it's a topic for debate at the moment as to whether coaching from the touchline, which officially isn't permitted, should be. You don't have to be too much of a mind reader to get the messages, though. Dixon made his own luck then. Merson. Rocastle, whose fitness was in question when he joined Leeds, certainly showed plenty of strength and stamina then. Batty relished that. Shut. Strachan. Wallace. Still Wallace. It's not going his way in front of goal. But Leeds United showing again here with speed. Dorigo, Arsenal again wanted an offside. There's confusion at the back. Wallace has miskicked again. Strachan. And Leeds rather let them off the hook, and here comes Merson.
He's just given it away though, Paul Merson, but what a let-off for Arsenal. 2 chances, as you say, for Rod Wallace. This is the first one, but what good defending from David Hillier. How important it was that as a midfield player he got back in amongst his back four.
After that, Arsenal got it all wrong in trying to defend, arms raised again. Speed. Strachan was offside, the ball went to Wallace.
I think, as you say, Mark, they got it wrong here again. They're looking to push up for offside. Arsenal normally very good. And this is where he uses his composure. Picks out Wallace. And that, a poor finish from the striker.
Would put some freshness back into Leeds. It's a commodity that they're shorter of at the moment. Arsenal had the zest, the scorer in the second half, after Leeds had romped into a 2-0 lead through Gary Speed and Lee Chapman.
It's just that they need to give the defenders a little rest as well at times, and that's what that provided them with, that couple of minutes. Provided the back four just to take stock and have a little breather.
Parlour. 20 minutes left. Can Leeds see it through? Can Arsenal turn it completely around? Or will we be off to Elland Road for a second game? Helped on by Hillier. And the linesman had the flag up very quickly, Graham Butland. Well, there were some smiles on Leeds' faces in the first half, the players that is, but it's grim determination now. Speed had come inside to try and get his head to the ball in the first place. Dixon got some room because of that. Hillier made something out of not very much with the cross.
I tell you, if he'd have been able to pull that back another 2 or 3 yards, and Alan Smith had found himself acres of space. Just watch it again here. He draws Weather all across, and as he plays it in, look at the space Alan Smith's got.
Leeds United still lead, out of Europe, out of the Coca-Cola Cup to Watford. And realistic, you would say, out of contention for retaining the championship. Although it promises to be a fascinating second half to the Premier League season. Arsenal won't feel they're out of contention. Just 9 points off the pace being set by Manchester United and Aston Villa. We talked about Leeds' sense of purpose at the start, their single-mindedness. It's being examined here by Arsenal in the second half. Jensen was a bad first touch. And Strachan recognising the need for himself to come deeper.
Still more pressure, they can't get it out. And what's more to the point, they can't keep it out when it comes up to the halfway line.
Didn't reach Smith. Dixon scampered infield, having taken the throw. Merson, Winterburn. Oh, that's a clever idea, because he feinted to shoot. We know, as Leeds do, that Nigel Winterburn can blast away on that left foot, but it was a delicate attempt to loft it beyond the far post.
It was an excellent idea. You can see John Lukic has been drawn to the near post. Winterburn sees that and tries to stand it at the back post for the people attacking it.
Well, we pointed out Arsenal's misfortune with injuries in the build-up to this game. Leeds have had their bad luck during the match to lose Chapman and McAllister. But Rocastle relishing the opportunity to show what he's worth back at Highbury again. Strachan. Arsenal dispossessed him fairly. Batty. And there were appeals from both sets of players that Joe Worrell might bring the game to a halt.
Great tackle, wee man. Hell of a tackle.
He's always been a referee who's enjoyed letting games flow if the players do allow him to do that. Rodney Wallace, who's got the speed, but he can't get himself into a position to use it.
That was excellent defending from Tony Adams. Did you see the way he showed Rodney Wallace inside there? He showed him exactly where he wanted him to go. Didn't want him exposed on the outside, and timed the tackle perfectly after that.
Batty. Here's Dorigo. Good movement from Strachan again. He's prepared to run in behind them. He's prepared to run anywhere.
He's telling them as well, that's exactly where he wanted it.
Oh, we've told you his secret before. Pasta, porridge and plenty of rest. And the appetite for victory. Jensen.
Well, again, he made it look very easy, John Lukic. But John Jensen really did strike this very, very well indeed. This looked for a minute as if it was sneaking above the goalkeeper. But at 6 foot plus, we should know better than that.
Jensen is not renowned for his striking power, despite that goal in the European Championships. Well, it's a re-emergent for Jimmy Carter, who's certainly been in the shadows here, and it's Jensen who goes off. Carter has only played once this season. That was back in August at Blackburn, where he was caught out in the closing stages by the power of Alan Shearer, shrugged aside. Shearer went on and got the goal that won the game, and Carter rather copped the blame for that. Leeds are moving closer towards a place in the 5th round and a home tie against either Middlesbrough or Nottingham Forest. But I don't think too many are betting on it at the moment. Arsenal still with plenty to offer unless Leeds can score again. Batty. They're not going to do it like that. Sharp was setting off. Batty thought the idea was to play it to feet.
In trouble here, Carl Shutt, I think, Martin. I think he's committed to centre, throwing the ball away as Nigel Winterburn was trying to take a quick throw, and we all know the punishment for that these days.
So a blot on the Leeds record tonight. If it's done any good at all, it's just perhaps taken a little bit of the tempo out of Arsenal, the delay. Smith. And Fairclough was right alongside Merson. It's a goal kick. White played it off Campbell. But there was a decision for Joe Worrell to consider off the ball.
I didn't think there was anything in this at all. I think that Fairclough has just been strong and standing his ground, and he's perfectly entitled to do that.
Smith. Carter. He'll bring some width. But his immediate opponent, Tony Dorigo, is hard to get past with sheer speed. But Carter's forced to throw, and that's part of the exercise, because Arsenal have the muscle power if Dixon can deliver it into the right area. Adams couldn't quite get there. Dixon, Adams is offside.
Unfortunate there, you know, because that was a decent situation, and had Tony Adams been able to get back out, and I feel certain that Alan Smith certainly wasn't offside.
Tony Adams has had a fine season personally, of course, with England, re-establishing himself, a big influence now in the England camp, a loud voice in the dressing room, a very positive man. And he will keep Arsenal going right to the last here, you can be absolutely sure of that. Shut. Three in the centre. Capable defending by Linnigan, who is very assured when the ball is off the ground. Rocastle wriggling free. Dixon. And Rodney Wallace having more success going backwards than he's had going forwards so far. Leeds got out quickly, offside.
It's that old one though, Martin, that you talked about earlier in the match, when a player who's going and chased the goalkeeper is coming back, and what are the referee and the two lines going to do? Are they going to judge him offside? In that case, Kevin Campbell's coming back away from the play, and he's given offside.
10 minutes to go. And still a huge sense of drama at Highbury. Leeds happy to get the throw. Keep the ball in this area of the ground. Dorigo. Infringement by Dixon on speed.
Yeah, they'll be pleased to take every little one of these, Leeds. Use up as much time as possible. Every little stoppage is to their advantage.
And Chris White wanted to go up and was told to go back. Turned away. And this is why, so he can be on hand if the ball breaks to Smith. Parlour, who's already produced one probing run for a goal. Merson. Great goal! 2-2. Paul Merson pulls the rabbit out of the hat for Arsenal.
Well, it's a fabulous strike, but watch the part Campbell plays. He runs across, runs Dorigo at the hole, and that's just enough to provide Merson with the space, and he provides us with a wonderful strike. How often have we seen Paul Merson cut in from the left and drill a shot into the far corner like that? Now who's your money on?
The magic of Merson. And Arsenal, who seemed down and out at half-time, have staged a second-half revival here. Smith. Here's Batty. Speed. Leeds look for goal. Speed had gone himself into an area where he could have produced it too. On his strong foot, trying to match Merson straight away.
Well, George Graham would have been furious, having watched his team get back in the game to within a minute. Allows Speed to get into the edge of the 18-yard box on his strong left foot. Well, there's some noise about now, isn't there?
Strachan and Winterburn pulled up, and Joe Worrell taking a serious view of that, wanting to talk to the offender, but keeping the notebook in his pocket and keeping Winterburn alongside him. Well, Paul Merson with that wonderful moment for Arsenal and indeed for football, unless you happen to be devoted to Leeds United, has shown what we should have expected really from tradition, that there's never too much between these two sides, but it's been a different type of levelling experience, because this has been so much more an open affair than in that marathon 2 years ago. Full of fine play from both teams, but Leeds lost something at half-time. They lost it, in truth, perhaps with the injury to McAllister first and foremost, when he and Strachan were holding such sway in midfield. And all the pleasure from that part of the match possibly being wiped away forever for Howard Wilkinson if Arsenal can come again. And they're absolutely determined to do that.
Well, they want to win it tonight now, won't they? They won't want to be going to Ellen Road in a replay.
Carter. That's Garrigo's. Five minutes left. Sure to be dramatic, but will it be decisive? That's Merson, and he knew what he was trying to do. John Lukic, a goalkeeper he knows very well, possibly might stray out a yard too far. Lukic didn't.
Well, it was ambitious, but who's going to argue with him after that wonderful strike a couple of minutes ago?
Paul Merson hasn't yet had the opportunity to break into the England side on a regular basis, but when he produces quality like that, you have to believe that's going to happen one day.
I know no one will thank me, but I'd quite fancy this to go to a replay. Wouldn't mind watching this again, Martin. Actually, this has been great stuff tonight.
Carter waited a long time to play at this level again. Isn't going to waste it. There's Carter again. That's come back from Batty, so Lukic couldn't pick it up.
Yeah, it's all hands to the pump now for Leeds, isn't it? Their aim, I'm sure, can only be to hold out now and get them back to Elland Road.
Speed. Strachan still looking to try and win it for Leeds. Rodney Wallace on a couple of occasions could have done that before Arsenal drew level. Strachan again. Pulled down by Dixon. Possibilities here for Leeds.
I think he worked that free kick, you know, Gordon. I think he earned that all on his own. Using his experience. Watch the way he just leans over, uses his body here. Keeps the ball away, then he's just leaning over. There was a little tug there on the right arm.
Interesting exchange between the two of them. Strachan takes the free kick. Linesman flagging in favour of Arsenal for a foul by Chris White, I think it was.
It's always worrying that, isn't it? When the ball goes into the box and two big men are tussling and the linesman's flag goes up.
Well, I'm sure you'd be delighted, as we will, to come back to Highbury next Sunday for the Premier League and Liverpool. He's still got the presence of mind to have a little exchange with the crowd.
What he knows is that people don't do bad players, Martin.
Well, the large number of long throws that Lee Dixon has had in the second half is a measure of how the territorial swing has gone Arsenal's way. It's been a fabulous fourth-round FA Cup tie. Carter. Strachan. Rodney Wallace will want to just run it here, and maybe a bit more than that. He's got two way to his right for Leeds, and Wallace knew that was going to run for the corner. Now Leeds are just looking, Andy, to see how many of the backmen they're going to push up to try and win it here, and they're all going except Arrigo.
Well, I said they surely would be settling for a draw now, but it doesn't look like I know much about Leeds, I tell you, because they're all in there, all the big boys.
And a free kick to Arsenal. Seaman was straining a bit by the near post from Strachan's corner.
It's always a danger for a goalkeeper when he tries to come past as many bodies. Look at that, David Seaman there, trying to come in there. Again, I think he's fortunate to get away with that.
Well, it's been a great battle of wits between the two managers. It's been a fine football match by anybody's standards. It's stoppage time now. Smith. Arsenal's ball. Well, the home fans have revelled in what's happened in the second half. Is there more joy for them now? For Parler, Arrigo got to it. Parler jumps again. Campbell is in there. These are desperate moments for Leeds. The last moments of the match. Adams. Oh, and a late flag against Dixon, but a flag nonetheless.
Well, fortunately for all concerned, nothing came of it. But you're right, it was late. I do think he was right, the linesman. But what a scramble there in that Leeds goal mouth.
Been typical of Leeds this season, really, that they haven't been able to defend a 2-0 lead. Speed, but they have shown enterprise and entertainment in their attack, with Strachan the chief sorcerer, although he didn't get the spell right then. And Campbell, can he clinch it? He might still, no! Chris White was left in his wake, and John Lukic stopped, in truth, a miss-hit shot from Campbell.
Well, it does miss-hit it totally, Kevin Campbell. It was a glorious chance to provide Arsenal with the victory. Pace took him in there, and you could see his contact with the ball just wasn't what he would have wished. It was a glorious opportunity.
Rocastle. Here's Carter. And the whistle is the final one. George Graham, I'm sure, would join in the applause for Arsenal's second half, and there, what a lovely shot to sum up a splendid night. Howard Wilkinson thought it had gone the way of Leeds, but Paul Merson produced a peach of a goal to equalise. After Ray Parler, Arsenal have been unproductive in terms of goals from midfield men this season, but what a crucial one he got early in the second half. After Leeds had romped through the first half with Strachan and McAllister pulling the strings, Gary Speed scored. Lee Chapman, who then went off injured, as did McAllister, added the second. Leeds do keep their season alive. It's a replay at Ellen Road a week on Wednesday. Arsenal, of course, will have Ian Wright available again for the second match, which will ease some of their disappointment at failing to make the most of home advantage here. Certainly George Graham's original plans affected by injuries, but then Howard Wilkinson's word during the match. Leeds with only the FA Cup to fight for. They're still fighting. They thought, Andy Gray, they would be through. But Arsenal, we talked about their resolution and their resolve, and they came out fighting for the second half.
Yes, it was a different type of game to that cup tie 2 years ago, Martin. It was entertaining, and I think, in all honesty, a share of the spoils and a second chance for both teams, just about the right result. Had one team won, I think it would have been a little bit disappointment for the other team there. It would have been a pity if one had to lose, having both teams put so much into the game. And I, for one, as a neutral, am quite happy that we can see that again.
Arsenal 2, Leeds United 2. Let's join Nick Collins.
Well, with me, the two men that sparked the great fight back, Paul Merson and Ray Parlour. A brilliant second half from your point of view, but what exactly was said at half-time that proved so effective?
The boss just said, like, pump the ball up into their half and, like, let's put pressure on them. And that's what we did, and they shook a bit, and, you know, we were lucky to get back in the game.
Ray, how important do you think it was for you to be able to get a goal back so quickly after the start of the second half?
Well, it's brilliant. Like, got it back so early on, gave the game to him, and we ended up nicking the equaliser.
I think we can show you that goal now, Ray. Here it is coming up.
Well, he just rolled across. I think he missed me there, and everybody just backed off me. He went through his legs, I think. Yeah, he went through his legs, so that was a relief.
You did very well to ride the tackle there, though.
Yeah, as I say, I just kept going and just hit it, and he was a bit lucky he went through his legs, but they all can.
Well, for the neutral, it was a marvellous game. Did you get the feeling that it was that good a game while you were out there playing?
It was just a typical cup tie, you know. It was blood and fun done, you know. Lucky we got a replay, but yeah, it was good for the neutrals and for Sky, but you know, we'd have liked to have won here.
Well, here's the moment I'm sure you'll enjoy looking at, your spectacular equaliser.
I think Ray played it out, and Chris Fairclough showed me on my right. I haven't got a left, so he should have done that. Yeah, it's just gone in the corner. You know, it's just one of them that could kill someone in the stands or go in. It's gone in.
I think you're being a bit modest there.
If he shows me on my left, you know, I've had it, but you know, he's let me come inside, and I've just hit it.
So we've got a replay up at Ellen Road. How do you think that will go?
Hopefully the same way it did about 2 years ago when we won 2-1. But it'll be hard, you know, but it'll be our turn next time to come out on the counter-attack and catch them.
Well, it was a marvellous game. Thank you both very much indeed. Richard.
Thank you.
Nick, thanks very much. We always thought that would be the tie of the round. Has been so far. Stick with the Football Channel. We're back here on Sunday. No apologies for following Arsenal for the next game or two. They've given us great entertainment tonight. Arsenal-Liverpool on Super Sunday. Latest saga in Liverpool's season as well. And on Wednesday, week Wednesday, Leeds United and Arsenal. The replay you can see here live. Coming next tonight, Kenny Sansom and Ray Clements with their views in a moment or so. Stay with us.
Man United got broken.
Fabulous match that was. Arsenal 2, Leeds United 2. 13 shots from Arsenal. It improved in the second half, didn't it? 8 from Leeds United. 9 of Arsenal's on target, 5 of Leeds. Only 5 corners, 36 free kicks in total. What, 12 offside decisions, which might surprise a few people. And 2 bookings. Ray Clements and Kenny Sansom are our guests. Kenny wasn't enjoying it too much at half-time. You're a bit happier now, Ken?
Yeah, I think Arsenal played much better in the second half and deservedly got 2 goals. But if Leeds, Wallace would have put 2 chances away, it could have been all over. They played much better second half.
Well, we'll have a look at one of them in a moment or so, but Ray, that really was a clash of the Titans, wasn't it?
Oh, fantastic match, yes. I mean, the way Arsenal showed their resilience yet again. You know, they were dead and buried really at half-time, and they've come out and they've battled and they've got the ball forward and they've got a couple of breaks. And all of a sudden they're back in the game. You know, the Ray Parlour goal gets them back in the game, gives them that lift. Leeds start to feel a little bit uncertain because of their recent away form, and they get the second goal, smashing goal from Paul Merson, great goal really. And at the end it was Arsenal that was going to win it, but as Kenny says, at 2-1 when Wallace missed that opportunity, I mean, he'll be in that dressing room now thinking, how on earth did I miss it?
Yeah, well, there were a couple in the space of about 60 seconds for poor old Rod Wallace, weren't there?
I think it was at 2-1, yeah, he should have buried it, the header. If he heads it low, Dave Sim, there's no chance. A nice height for a goalkeeper.
And then obviously the side foot one, which was cut back to him, he must have taken his eye off it and it skidded right off his right foot when all he had to do was make good contact with the ball, and I'm sure it would have finished in the net.
Right, let's get a view from Leeds United. Here's Lee Chapman with Nick Collins.
Lee, what's the mood in the Leeds dressing room? Disappointment at losing the lead or relief that you're still in the cup?
I think in the end, relieved we were still in it, but I think after the first half performance, we would have thought we would have gone on to win the tie, but obviously we were disrupted with the 2 injuries to myself and Gary McAllister, and I think it was inevitable that we were pulled out of shape a little bit because, you know, we'd worked on the system for this game, and all of a sudden we lose 2 players, and obviously it affects the system.
Just how important was it for Leeds to get a result tonight, to save the season in a sense?
Well, we realised that our main chance of winning the trophy is in the FA Cup, and we had to maintain interest, not just for the fans but for the players, because we didn't want our season to sort of peter out into nothing. But we're still in the FA Cup. We're disappointed not to have won it tonight, but we're still in it, and I think we've got a good chance in the replay.
Well, you got off to a cracking start. The first goal coming up from Gary Speed. Let's have a quick look at it now. I think you can see it here.
Yes, I managed to get a flick onto Gary, and he chests it down well into his path, and he finishes really well. Gary's a good finisher. He's got something like 11 or 12 goals this season, his best return so far in his career. And you see he's strong here. He fights his way past Andy Linnigan and finishes well.
You wouldn't have fancied it being a goal at that time when he was taking on Linnigan, really, would you?
Well, no, Andy's a big lad, he's a strong lad, but Gary's very powerful himself. He's exceptional in the air for his size, and he's got a great future in the game.
Now, the second goal, it might not be the most spectacular you've scored, but very, very valuable.
Well, it's probably a long-range goal for me. Gary McAllister and I think it's Tony Rodrigo do well on the left here. Gary takes it through. I pull off, and then I go in again, and Gary spots me, and there's a bit of a scramble, and I managed to bundle it over the line and tread on top of Paul Merson.
Well, that's right, the first shot was blocked, but a real striker's effort inside the 6-yard box there.
Yeah, I mean, they're my bread and butter goals. I get most of my goals in and around the 6-yard box, and this is what I work on, and Gary put me in well here. As I say, a few ricochets, but I managed to bundle it over in the end.
Number 15, is that?
15, yeah, hopefully a few more before the end.
I think a lot of people might have thought that this game would be a fairly dour struggle, but in fact it was the exact opposite. Do you think the replay may go the same way?
Well, I don't know. We've had many dour struggles in the past. The epic of 2 years ago, most of the games were pretty tight. But I think this season, with the new back pass law, games are more open, and I think this is shown tonight. And I think the replay will be just as exciting.
Can you win it?
We can win it, yes, but so can Arsenal.
Lee, thanks very much indeed.
Yes, and I knew he'd know how many goals he'd scored this season. Strikers always do, don't they? 2-0 to Leeds at half-time then. Ray Parlour got Arsenal right back in the match with this goal at the start of the second half. Now, Ray, here, Gary McAllister, he skips by. It was the end of Gary's match, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he was struggling with the injury. He makes a half-hearted challenge there, and then Parlour goes across Weatherall. In fact, Weatherall possibly brings him down. If that ball hadn't finished in the net, I would think the referee, to see it from behind the goal here, I think that the referee would have given a penalty anyway. But it's a good ball into Parlour. He turns and commits defenders. You know, he goes past McAllister there. Now he's on the inside of Weatherall, and it's a lunging tackle from Weatherall. I think it's a penalty anyway, but it finished in the back of the net. That's the break Arsenal needed, and from there on in, Leeds were hanging on.
He doesn't just go past McAllister, he goes past Joe Worrell as well, doesn't he?
Yes, which on a couple of occasions tonight was difficult to do.
Now that was 2-1. Now what a chance, well, you've discussed it already, what a chance Rod Wallace had to bury Arsenal. What a fabulous save from David Seaman. Can he hear it comes?
The free comes, I think it goes out to Carl Shutt, I think, and he just hooks the ball in, outside of his foot, lovely ball. They try to play offside, and that's a great chance.
Well, it's Winterburn that's going out with his arm up, having stepped back in a couple of paces, isn't it?
I think if he heads it down, it's a goal. That was a super chance. Nice little ball.
Often don't get the credit that they deserve in these situations, Ray, do they?
No, certainly don't. And it's up here at the time when he saved that, we were saying to each other, weren't we, that that could be the save that, you know, might keep Arsenal in the FA Cup, and it proved to be, because, you know, Wallace, if he'd have headed it down, then he would have had no chance. He headed it in a position which goalkeepers love, but it's still tremendous reflexes to get up his right-hand side and push it away.
Both keepers looked comfortable tonight, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, John Lukic, to be fair, had a fabulous first half, didn't he?
Did very well.
Yes, he did, yes, without a shadow of a doubt. He made...
Apart from the one little dribble out, but other than that, he played super.
Yeah. Thought there were two sweepers at one stage in the first half. Lukic, yeah.
Here comes the equaliser. Paul Merson, as he said, Kenny, if they show him the outside, he's finished here, but they push him in, and what a right foot he's got.
We thought he was going to put it through to Campbell, but decided to play to Paul, and he took him inside. It's a lovely finish. He does it regularly in training.
It's strange, really, because, you know, Fairclough is stronger on his right-hand side, and you would think that he would want to show him to Fairclough's right-hand side, but he shows him inside onto the weaker side for Fairclough from his tackling point of view, and he actually tries to lunge with his right foot anyway.
He don't get in a good position to start with, I don't think, Fairclough there. If you watch it, you don't know where he wants him to go.
It's a fabulous goal, isn't it?
It just pops up as he hits it. Watch, just whoops.
Yes, perfect.
Very nice.
Goal worthy of the match in the end, wasn't it?
2-2, and we've got the replay, remember, live here on Sky Sports a week on Wednesday. That's where we'll take another break. Back in a moment or so on the Monday Night Football.
What has Laurie McMenemy got in common with the Titanic?
Go on, tell us.
He should never have left Southampton.
Back to the Monday Night Football. We've got the replay, week Wednesday, live here on Sky Sports. Let's hear what George Graham thought about tonight.
Well, George, a wonderful fight back by Arsenal. At half-time, did you think you could get back into the game?
Yeah, I think if you believe you can get one back, you can always get two. The most important thing was not to lose our discipline. Our team discipline was good, and I just thought if we just managed to get a goal, then we could possibly get another one. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, full credit to the players. I mean, it's okay people saying, what did I say at half-time? But I think the players, I think they were a little bit down because the first half, it was everybody, I think both sides were feeling one another, and it wasn't that exciting. And I think they went 2-0 up with, I would say, soft goals, really. You know, not the type of goals we normally give away. So we're 2-0 down at half-time, and I think the boys says, all right, let's have a go at them. And great entertainment, great for the crowd, great for the spectators. Wonderful.
Full credit to Ray Parlour for that first goal. Very important in the fight back, but also the way he kept his feet in scoring.
Yeah, they're the central of them midfield is very strong, but I think we pushed young Ray on a little bit more, and you can see him bursting through here. Yeah, he's done well there, done very well, because that was a good challenge on him. That's his strength, breaking from midfield. As I say, they're very strong with speed, McAllister and Batty, and also striking comes deep at times. So when they get the ball in midfield, I think they're one of the best sides in England.
Paul Merson's goal, we must mention that, because that really was something special, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought that was a very good goal. He gets it deep. Kevin Campbell's made a great run here, and it's just taken Dorigo just out the pictures, and Merson's just come in on his good foot. Fairclough tracked him all night. He done a man-to-man marking job on him. But that's what Merson's good at, picking the ball up, about 40 yards out and running at players and coming in on his good foot. As I say, Kevin Campbell made a good run there, taking Dorigo away. And he just get that half a yard to get his shot in. Very good finish, excellent finish.
Parlour and Merson will probably take the headlines, but when the score was 2-1 in Leeds' favour, David Seaman made a very important save.
Yeah, I think that's always on the cards. We were pushing forward, and I think they got a very fortuitous free kick on the edge of the box. That shot putting it in there. David Rocastle, good header. David doesn't usually head the ball.
Did very well there, though, didn't he?
Did well there, yeah, but should have scored.
The manager would say that, I guess.
Yeah, he should have. Well, he's old manager, but he should have scored there, actually. But no, I think you're going to get these opportunities when we're pushing forward. We've got nothing to lose. We are pushing forward. You do actually make yourself vulnerable on the break. But saying that, I think we created lots of chances tonight. Kevin Campbell was through in the first half. His first touch he took away from the goalkeeper. He should have really attacked John Lukic with it. And Lukic has made a lot of saves tonight.
Well, you're still alive in all three competitions, but another replay, does that give you any worries about fixture congestion?
No, it's nice to have replays. It just means you're still in the Cup. I'd rather have these problems and not have them. I'm delighted to still be in the Cup.
Well, you've done it before at Elland Road in the Cup. Can you do it again?
Yeah, why not? I think tonight we showed the spirit of what Arsenal's all about. 2-0 down. The players, and it's all full credit to the players. They were the ones who got themselves back into the game again with tremendous attitude, and, you know, that never say die win.
George, well done. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Well, he's a happy man, isn't he? George Graham, the Arsenal manager. Let's find out what they're saying about it outside the ground.
What did you think of Arsenal tonight? Well, I thought the first half was really terrible. We started off well. When they scored the goal, it just fell apart. Second half, we come out, more determination. Bunged in two, we could have won in the end, really.
Happy with the draw, but should have nicked it at the end. First half was bad, but the second half was great. Parlour played great. Good, not bad. Hope we win the replay. superb second half performance. Everyone giving up on us. Come back second half. I thought Carter was good when he came on. I thought Parlour got stuck in. And watch next week, Spurs.
Well, part of Spurs was watching tonight. Ray Clements, of course. We've got the replay live, don't forget, week on Wednesday. How do you think that might work out, gentlemen? Kenny?
I think it's going to be another cracking match. I think the way Arsenal played in the second half, they do that there. I think they come away with a victory. 3-1.
You thought it was 3-1 tonight.
I was close.
He's ready to throw that red jacket away at half-time.
There was 4 goals in the match. Got the goals right.
We've heard from George Graham. Here's Howard Wilkinson, the Leeds boss.
Well, Howard, after a game like that, what's your feeling? Relief to still be in the Cup, or are you disappointed that you threw away a 2-goal lead?
Well, the sensible part of me says that having been drawn away from home to another Premier League club, obviously it's satisfying in a sense to go back. Having said that, up until losing 2 fairly key players in what we're trying to do tonight, both within 30 seconds of themselves, you know, it's a bit disappointing, but that happens in football. You know, it's almost like the European thing. Chapman's coming off when they scored the second, and Gary McAllister, who was the first to try and tackle, couldn't tackle. So
was that the turning point for you?
Well, obviously, for them to get a goal as quick as that, 2-0 down at half-time in a cup tie, it's a great boost, a great fillip.
Just how important was it for Leeds not to lose this game? Bearing in mind your season could have been over.
Well, yeah, it could have been over, the game could have been off. I could get the sack next week. I mean, it's a football match. I can't pick and choose when I win football matches or when my team does. Obviously, they would like to go to the FA Cup final, and I would like to go to the FA Cup final. And there was a time tonight when I thought, you know, the chance was improving. But we've got them back on our patch, and it'll be another good game, no doubt.
But I mean, a good cup run is a chance to resurrect your season, isn't it?
Well, if we're riding top of the league now and we'll come down to Arsenal in a cup tie, and you said to me, do you want to win the FA Cup? Honestly, I would have answered you, yes. Obviously, it's important, but I think it's important to anyone.
A word on the 2 players that went off injured, Chapman and McAllister.
Gary McAllister got an ankle injury with about a quarter of an hour to go in the first half. Stayed on. We knew it was dodgy. At half-time, he thought he might get through the second half. Couldn't. Lee Chapman got a groin injury.
Howard, thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Howard. Big thank you also to Kenny Sansom and Ray Clements for their company tonight. Enjoyed it, gentlemen. Thank you. If you're waiting for Boots and All, it's coming up very shortly. And here's a list of what we have over the next week or so here on Sky Sports. Footballers' Football Show tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Club Show on Wednesday at 6:30 features Queen's Park Rangers. Andy's Boot Room, 8 o'clock this coming Thursday, 8 o'clock. Sky Soccer Weekend at 6, all the big match previews. Sports Saturday, Paul Dempsey and Sue Barker, 1 o'clock Saturday afternoons. Goals on Sunday with Jonathan Pearce, 11 o'clock this weekend. 11, not 10 as usual. Super Sunday, we've mentioned that once or twice. We're back here at Highbury. Arsenal against Liverpool, the latest chapter in Liverpool's season. Can Arsenal close the gap on the leaders at the top? 2 o'clock this Sunday. And week on Wednesday, we have this 4th round replay live. Leeds United and Arsenal from Elland Road, 7 o'clock it starts. What a fabulous match. This really is the place to watch your football, isn't it? See you next time around. We'll leave you with a pick of the action from a cracking weekend of cup football. Bye-bye for now.
Sega, official supporters of Sky Sports coverage of the FA Cup.
What's Desmond Lynham.